Good morning, everyone. Richard Cowperthwait for Northwest Access TV. Thanks for joining us. Happy to have St. Albans Mayor Tim Smith with us.
Hello, Richard.
Tim, and we're expecting Brendan Deso, the St. Albans Town Selectboard Chair, who hopefully will be here soon in one of our bi-weekly For the Record St. Albans Today shows. Well, Tim, we made it to August. Again, almost 5 months into the pandemic situation. So generally, how do you think St. Albans is faring? Are things slowly getting back to, I hate to even say getting back to normal, but some progress on that front?
Yes, Richard. I think, and it's hard to believe we're in August already, but yeah, I think downtown, I've spoken to a few merchants. They've been busy. Ironically, relatively busy.
Yeah.
And ironically, probably the main reason for that is tourist interactions.
Really?
And as I walk downtown, I see and hear with different languages. I hear different families and whatnot. So I think
really.
We have benefited from some elevated tourism activity. If you look at the restaurants, fortunately, it's been a great summer for the outdoor crowd. So I think the restaurants have been able to benefit, and I use that term loosely, but from the good weather and the ability to maintain a good attendance on the outside dining piece.
Yeah. And most of these restaurants, are they having indoor dining too?
Indoor dining too, right? I don't even know what the percentage is up to now. It was 50.
Yeah. I've
lost track. So they seem to be doing fairly well. The ones I look at and feel bad for is like the movie theater and Weldon Theater.
Yeah.
Haven't been able to open their doors in, as you said, 5 or 6 months.
I'm looking forward to another Saturday night popcorn night at some point.
Yeah,
I hope that Mary does, but.
And then you've got, the bars that still haven't been able to open. I'm not sure what programs are out there to help them. It's 6 of one, half a dozen of another in terms of some are doing well, I think, some are not. Tetril's opened back up recently. But you still have a lot of what those, like Tetril's and others, depend on is the large office buildings.
Sure.
So the state office building hasn't opened back up. I don't believe Derringer's has.
Wow.
Obviously, immigration hasn't for the most part.
Yeah.
So there's still a substantial impact. I'm not sure, I'm not sure what their time frames are. My guess is it may not be till you get a vaccine. I don't know.
Yeah, but Governor, again, we're on the air here Wednesday, August 5th. Governor had the first of his two, now twice weekly news conferences yesterday. I guess one of the big announcements was a first come, first served program for some extra pay for some of the frontline workers.
Right.
I caught very little of it, but.
Yeah, the frontline workers being mostly the healthcare providers, the ones that I think we're hoping to have some assistance were the grocery stores, and they were not included in that. I know we had calls from some manufacturers who thought they should be included in that early on, and that neither one of those are included at this stage. I know there's more programs coming down the pike as we move forward, but it was focused mainly on the healthcare, public safety, those type of positions.
Yeah. Speaking of healthcare workers, Northwestern Medical Center, along with probably just about all the other state hospitals, just taking a real financial hit through this. You hearing anything from NMC? I guess they're obviously back to elective surgeries, so hopefully they've got a lot more money coming in. You hearing anything specific about
I have
NMC?
not heard anything specific to that. I haven't heard I haven't heard what the timeline is either for, to get a new CEO on board.
Right.
That should be, Jill left in April.
Wow.
So it's been 3 months there, so I would think that that's going to be, should be coming down not any day, but sometime in the near future.
Yeah. Got my city tax bill in the mail, as I'm sure you did within the last week or so. Question, can I, for folks who, and again, that, of course, the next quarterly payment is due at the end of this month, late August. Speaking for myself here, can I go down to City Hall, or how can I pay that bill? Are there options here?
There's a drop-off box outside City Hall, so that can be dropped. If you want it, you set up an appointment with Curry.
Just give a call?
Yeah, just give a call or shoot her an email.
Because for folks paying with credit cards, they certainly need to be dealing with those folks.
But Curry is setting up appointments, and it's not like there's been a lot of appointments, so I think you could probably get in fairly quickly.
Right. But you can't just walk. Again, City Hall's not open to the public.
City Hall is still closed, yes.
Okay. And I believe Mr. Brendan Deso joining us. Morning, Brendan.
How are you?
Good to see you. So again, for folks, just give a call, I guess, is probably the best thing to do.
Best thing to do, talk to Curry. Curry would be glad to assist individuals, not only just for taxes, but water, sewer, dog licenses, deed research, whatever it is. So.
Can you picture City Hall getting closer to opening to the public, or not necessary, or who knows?
I can picture that. Excuse me. I still haven't finalized what the meeting's going to look like on Monday for us, but I think it's going to be in person with
in the auditorium, presumably.
In the auditorium.
Yeah.
So that was a request of Alderman Hawkins. He wants to try to get back to more of the person-to-person interaction.
Yeah.
So I think this Monday is going to look much different than what we have in the last 5 months.
And that'll be your first kind of public meeting? And,
right.
Wow. Interesting.
So that's where so given that, I think we'll probably take baby steps to improve other things.
Yeah. Brendan, talking tax bills, St. Albans town residents just got their tax bills as well.
Yep.
And again, for folks, and again, that's due late this month, right?
Yeah, we're on right around August 15th or so.
So the best way for folks to pay that bill, again, same thing, get an appointment with Carrie, or call Carrie about that, or what's...
Town clerk, Anna Borden.
No, sorry, Anna, I guess Carrie's got other things to deal with.
524-2415. Best thing to do this year is mail a check.
Or mail a check.
Mail a check, or we have a drop box, but checks only, no cash.
Checks only, no cash. Did you guys take credit cards also for that?
I think she might. I think there's a small processing fee.
Yeah.
But mailing a check is probably the best way through this year for everyone.
Yeah. So how's the town faring? Almost, 5 months into this? How?
We had our first in-person select board meeting in the Bliss Room Monday night.
Really?
The
Bliss Room of the museum?
Yeah, the Zoom functionality was the best it had been, with the help of Northwest Access. The only person who attended from the public was Mike Frett from the Messenger. So.
Oh, really? Nobody else from the public?
No, and I don't know that they were expecting us to be in the Bliss Room. I mean, not a lot of folks read, where we post our meetings.
Right.
So yeah, we had a good meeting, and we've authorized the manager, who has already signed the sheriff's contract. So that's done. We're working to fill a funding gap with the salt shed. The bids came in a little bit higher than we budgeted. So we've got some reserve funds on hand from impact fees and other funds. And it really goes into showing that we're not a for-profit entity. We've had a lot of reserve funds on the books for several years that, if we're not going to use it, we should either return it to the taxpayers or spend it on a project. So we're trying to identify those funds to make sure that we can fill that funding gap. Other than that, everything is...
Yeah. Salt shed, you have some grant money for most of that?
Yeah, we would have had it built by now without the grant money, but the grant money was $376,000 from V-Trans.
Right.
So we did the salt shed as a separate project from the garage because the garage had no grant money affiliated with it.
Right.
We paid cash with local option tax money for that. Yeah, so that's what we're working on. We're doing an environmental site assessment on the old Department of Public Works site on Georgia Shore to figure out exactly what we've got. And
looming is a possible site for a new town hall?
I would like to see a boat launch, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that old barge pulled out of the water, maybe some dredging if needed, and then a 1 or 2 ramp boat launch with a lot of parking. So that's where I'd like to see that property go. There's some property very nearby that could service as a town hall site, and we're working with that landowner to shore up some sort of a presentable deal to the public.
Yeah.
Can I just throw some?
Local option tax that did indeed go into effect July 1st for the city?
No.
It did not.
October 1 is when we're looking at it.
It got pushed back a few months.
You have to set it up with the tax department and
Gotcha.
in-house, but I was going to ask Brendan, have you seen it, what impact have you seen on the local option tax? Have you received a quarterly?
We received a quarter for February to, must have been April, I think, and that was fairly normal.
Yeah.
So, if anything, people are not spending so much money on going out of town. So, and we kind of have, at least in the north end of town, one of the larger commercial districts in the county, with Walmart in particular, in the furniture store and Tractor Supply, and I know I'm not naming a lot of businesses, but so that income was pretty well pandemic proof from what we can tell so far. But the second and third quarter, I mean, we're going to get a full probably 18 months of restrictions, I would guess. Maybe
So
another year from today.
October 1st for the city.
October 1st, what we're
That's
shooting
money
for.
I'm sure the city will be looking forward
We
to.
will be fortunate to have that, yes.
Tim, how much of we've talked about it every show pretty much. Is it clear how much of a financial hit the city's taking from this at this point?
It's still not evident to Tom in the finance office. The first tax payments in water and sewer were due back in May, and
Yeah.
we were off a couple percentage points, but nothing significant.
Yeah.
And we have another one coming up. But no, at this stage, it has not proven to be a drastic hit
Yeah.
at any point. So
Yes.
it'll be interesting to see what the next one is. I think, with the reprieve for the immigration office, I think that will probably be the big one. If that goes through, that's probably where we're going to see the big hit.
And I guess those folks, as you said, got a reprieve. The new federal fiscal year starts October 1st, so I guess you're okay this month and September anyway for the rest of the federal fiscal year.
Yeah, they extended a month, so it was supposed to kick in August 3rd, so now it's pushed to
a month
September.
reprieve.
Yep.
But that looms as you say, a huge issue for the area if that
Yeah, and
furlough goes through.
it's sort of tough to get your arms around what the information is. You've heard they were
Yeah.
in deficit spending, they had a surplus, and going
Yeah.
back and forth. So it's tough to really get a true course of where they're headed.
And I think I just read a messenger story that they're raising some of their fees.
I saw that, yeah.
In some cases pretty significantly, I guess.
I spoke with an immigration officer who doesn't work locally but took a transfer to Nebraska, but he does a very similar job to what's done in St. Albans from the sounds of it. And he said from his perspective, when they announced potential furloughs, a lot of folks started to try to turn their applications in as fast as possible, and their receipts went up. So they went from running a projected deficit to a surplus. They said they usually are running a surplus in his department anyway. So he said that there's still talk of it, but what's the reason, if they've got the funding on hand, but it's whether or not they can do the work, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what happens, but we're lucky we have we're lucky we have Senator Leahy in the role that we have him, because it would have gone very differently if we had a junior senator. I'll tell you that much.
And Senator Leahy, of course, was a key person in the first place, getting the service center here and keeping it here.
Now, if you need him to come through on something like that, from every time I've ever seen him my entire life, he's always seemed to come through. It's kind of miraculous. And I mean, you're talking to the treasurer of the Franklin County Republican Party, and I'm out here saying that Senator Leahy, you know, Senator Sanders didn't help him. You know, Representative Welch might have been there beating the drum in the House, but there's one person in our congressional delegation that's extremely effective, and then, you know, Congressman Welch is fairly effective in the House at getting funding for clean water for Lake Champlain the last few years. But yeah, we are lucky that in the year 2020, Senator Leahy's still around to be able to protect us. I mean, he protected 1,100 jobs, at least for a month, but he seems to always come through.
I think it's interesting to see the absence of Senator Sanders.
Boy, pretty, and even on the presidential front in terms of
I mean, he
supporting
is,
Joe Biden, I haven't seen much from Sanders.
We haven't seen anything on Sanders at all.
Yeah.
You know, since he stopped his campaign, he's been non-existent.
He did the
With his
virtual.
staff, Tim, did you deal with his staff at all? Was his staff of use, or is Leahy and Welch just pretty much the key people for you?
For us, for work, for my work, if we need something, we go to Leahy's office.
Yeah. I probably should note, as you would, Congressman Welch then came through big time, and kind of when the city's revitalization was getting cranking, I think maybe under Mayor Marty Manahan, Welch came through with some pretty significant federal buckos, I think.
No doubt, no doubt. And I give Congressman Welch a lot of credit as well. He has made the effort to reach out. We have another mayor's call and town manager call tomorrow. I can't be on it, but you know, this is probably his third one since the pandemic started. So he's reached out. He's had conversations. The communication with Welch's office has been excellent. You know, and he's got a state economic board, which I sit on as well. So he really makes the effort. Yeah. Sanders, some people aren't going to like this, but Sanders, we hear he has one staffer that we have a good relationship with, but Sanders has never been in the county to visit a manufacturer or an employer. I mean, he's not going to go into you know, Rock 10 or Ben and Jerry's, or I mean, he's, you know, that his corporate America. I mean, all that. It's twofold. One is a lot of these companies don't want to see him, and the other one is he wouldn't step foot in them anyway. So, you know, I've been in this job 20 years. We have never given Sanders a tour of any business in Franklin County.
Really? And you're talking your FCIDs,
yeah. I mean, really? I think that speaks volumes. We've been with Leahy multiple times, Welch multiple times. You know, they reach out, they say, hey, we're going to be in the area. Can we get a tour? Sure, we'll set it up. Yeah. Sanders' office, 20 years, really? Never, ever been step foot in any one of our manufacturers.
Well,
He's been
interesting.
I want to tell a short story about Senator Sanders and my time at BFA. I was a junior. There was a Boston Post article that came out that had a former BFA student quoted in it. She was several years post-graduation, and she was quoted in this Boston Globe article saying, half the kids at that school are on heroin or something like that, or half those kids are on drugs. And that was taken extremely literally. So we had our school administration fighting to protect the image of its students, because that reverberated through the county. People were reading it. I want to say Emerson Lynn was one of our defenders in that case.
I'm sure he was.
Senator Sanders, in the year 2000, I think it was 2014 or 13, comes to school with a former U.S. attorney who lost a child to addiction. And that U.S. attorney was the most genuine presenter I'd ever met with, you know, or seen in that big of you got almost 1,000 students, and he was very in control of the room. Senator Sanders was there to make a campaign stop. He was ramping up to potentially run for president. And it just, he's not a genuine person from my perspective. I don't know. I have a very hard time with it. He was on some town hall calls, or at least his staff was, at the start of the pandemic, but they were organized mostly by Welch and Leahy.
Right, you're right.
And he hopped on.
In fact, he even, I think, remember talking about that. I think Sanders' office even organized one of those early calls, which seemed a little surprising because he hadn't exactly been in Vermont on the front lines of that.
But what
that
did he
one,
do with the information?
I think he even hijacked that a little bit. I think Leahy started it, and then Sanders sort of dovetailed it.
But anyway, let's go ahead and probably get back to some St. Albans stuff. But I hear you folks. Downtown project, Tim. I drove by the library yesterday, and the apartment buildings looks like moving ahead. Huh?
I think they're looking great. The commercial building is shooting for October 1, which is obviously 2 months away. Making good headway. Probably more so on the CCV floor than the third floor where the hospital will be located. I think the priority is to get CCV in there, and then we'll focus on the police station as well.
And that's still, again, I keep hearing occasional rumblings about CCV maybe not moving. That's not, they're set. I mean, nothing's changed on that.
Nothing that I've heard.
Right.
Like I said, the hospital cut back on some of their space, but other than that, there's nothing that I've heard or we've had a discussion on relative to CCV.
And St. Albans PD is still planning to move to the CCV headquarters off South Main Street, but maybe not as fast as originally hoped, or?
Well, I think the renovations may not be to the level as what we originally hoped. I mean, it may be something that's piecemealed over a number of years to try to get it to where we want it to be, but we're going to be taking a hard look at the budget probably as soon as September, in preparation for March. And, historically, we'd start looking at it in late November, December. Yeah. So we just want to get ahead of it, see where we're at, and we'll make some decisions at that time.
Speaking of St. Albans PD, you're getting much information from, is it Municipal Resources, the outside firm kind of reviewing the PD? Getting much, are they still doing their thing?
Yeah, still doing their thing. We're going to, Monday we'll present, again, we'll present a roadmap as to where we expect that to go.
Yeah.
We've consulted them on a couple topics, but we're still moving forward with them.
Yeah. Any movement towards finding a permanent police chief at this point, or?
That's part of the discussion as well. Probably start that process in September.
Yeah.
And I think the feeling is that we'll do a search and then see where that ends up.
Any indication, Interim Chief Morris Mo Lamont, any indication whether he might want the permanent job?
I think he is interested.
Yeah.
From, as far as I know, he is. So.
Yeah, and pleased with his first month or two.
Very, very much so. I think. The officers and he have a good relationship. He's done a lot of small things that people may not pick up on that in the long run are going to make a big difference. He's really been focused on the community policing. So we're happy with Mo. The relationships he has, whether it's the Sheriff's Department or State Police, those are all going to prove to be beneficial moving forward. So,
Brendan, getting any more feedback? Again, we've talked about it in recent shows with Sheriff's Department taking over the contract next July. Any more feedback on that? No.
I haven't heard from anyone. Yeah. Not one phone call. Nothing. No email. I actually had a point yesterday. There were some folks complaining that we invested about $40,000 mostly in grant funds in the town forest. We had a grand opening Saturday. Everybody that can should take a ride up there and take a walk on the trails. It's pretty awesome. The Saddle Trail especially. We had a 5-year process led by Rise Vermont and Jessica Frost that included representatives from mountain biking clubs and bird watchers and other stakeholders in that project, and we engineered a lot of the trails for pedestrian and mountain bike use. And someone this spring took a horse through the trails. Right. So we banned horseback riding because the bridges are not engineered to hold that kind of weight. Wow. And the trails aren't made for that.
I apologize about that.
That's okay, Tim. It's fine. So we might do a phase 2. And we're inviting people, if you like to ride horses and you would like a trail in the town forest, we've got over 150 acres that can be utilized, and we'd be happy to work with you to build a trail. But it was a 5-year process. We tried to keep track the best we could of who used the trail and for what purpose, and there was not a pronounced horseback, there was not an equestrian community utilizing that resource, because if there was, we would have worked them into our discussion. They would have been made a stakeholder. But that doesn't mean phase 2 can't include some type of a horseback riding trail. We're not against it. But temporarily, we've had to prohibit horseback riding in the forest. And there was some post on a Facebook group, St. Albans, Vermont. It's run by Mike Manahan, Hometown Beverage. Great page. And there was a lot of complaining about the select board and dumb legislators who make dumb decisions that, who would complain about that? And some Karen must have complained. And I just read it and I'm like, well, there's some people here that are here to make vital points. Like, maybe in phase 2 we can get together and work on something. I wonder where we could get the information about why this decision was made. Nobody called. My phone number and email is on the town's website. Nobody ever calls me. They wait until after the fact. There's a 5-year project. We build it. There's people involved that put work into it. They get their use and worked into the project, and then later on a group of people come out and they're angry. It's like, well, where were you? Call us though. And I want to make that point. If you're a city or town resident and you don't like something that the council or the select board's doing, or you want background information, call the town manager, call the city manager, call the mayor, call me, call your alderman, call a select board member. We're all here to just try to make St. Albans the best it can be. So it's really disheartening to go on social media and read these awful posts, really. I mean, a lot of people complaining, but nobody wants to do anything. And every time I ever comment, join us in our effort to make the community a better place. Show up to our meetings. Crickets. Nobody responds to it. Nobody ever emails me. I put my email and my cell phone number on a post yesterday that had over 50 comments on it. And nobody called or emailed me about their issue.
Social media is too easy.
Tim,
Social media is too
You
easy.
can kind of relate to some of this, Tim?
No, I can't, because I don't do social
You
media.
don't do social.
I
But in
don't.
turn, I guess I meant more in terms of public reaction.
Oh, yeah, obviously. I mean, we've seen that with the police department and whatnot.
Yeah.
But, my feeling is I'm easy to find. I think I'm easy to find. If you want to reach out to me, you can call City Hall and leave a message. You can call me. You can track me down.
Yeah.
Brendan's right. I mean, the social media is just too easy to criticize and put a post up and then.
I don't, for the record, as I've said, I don't go near it. Last thing on my mind.
Come to our meetings and deliver a public comment. I mean,
Right.
This thing works. If you dial my phone number, it will ring. You can leave a message and I will call you back within 24 hours.
Yeah, down to about 2 minutes. Anything you want to quickly jump into?
Just quickly, we family went up and used the trails. I'm sorry, I didn't know you had the grand open. Maybe it was on social media. I might have missed that, but I would have attended that. I think the town's done a wonderful job on those trails. The company or the individual Sinuosity that did the trail work, it was excellent, and I've got to reach out to them to do some trail work up at Aldous Hill as well. But the quality of work, the trails were beautiful. I've recommended it a dozen times to people to go up and use the trails, and so kudos to the town. It was a long time coming, but they did a great job on it and did it upright. So it's a great asset for the region, and I thought the town did a nice job on that.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've been up there, but I love places like that. So yeah, kudos.
I got to shout out Jessica Frost, Carrie Johnson, our town manager, Mike Kane, the Rotary Club of St. Albans gave
Andy
us
Crossman,
all those folks who helped out and participated. We couldn't have done it without you, and the whole community is going to benefit from your hard work. So thank you very much.
for years to come.
Yeah, you can't have enough resources like that around.
especially in a time like this.
Yeah, and again, as I said before, I was glad to see the parklet, a word I still don't like, but it was nice to see the parklet come back at the St. Albans Bay Dock again. And hey, we actually got some rain. I'd like to think that might kick up the lake level by maybe half a foot or so, but nice to get some rain around here finally. That's going to do it for this edition of the For the Record St. Albans Today Show. Many thanks to St. Albans Mayor Tim Smith.
Welcome, Richard.
Tim, good to see you. Stay healthy. And Brendan Deso, the St. Albans Town Select Board Chairman. Thanks for your time. Hopefully see you in a couple weeks. Thanks for watching us on Northwest Access TV. I'm Richard Cowperthwait. See ya. Stay healthy.